Good evening. I would like to call the January 5th, 2021 Planning Commission meeting to order. Happy New Year, everyone. I'd like to point out that this meeting is being hosted through live stream on the city's website and by teleconference for public comment. Due to the structure of the meeting, I would like to remind the Planning Commission to have their microphones turned on and positioned so the audience can hear. P, may we have a roll call, please?
Sure. Vice Chair Roy?
Here.
Commissioner Buesterberger?
Here.
Commissioner Lemke?
Here.
Commissioner Van Arsdale?
Here.
Thank you. Please stand and join us for the flag salute. Ready to begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So thank you for the opportunity to come together and serve our community. We pray for your wisdom and fairness and give you the items before us to pray for a happy and healthy year 2021. Agenda number 4 is approval of the minutes for December 15th, 2020. Are there any corrections or additions?
I'd like to move approval of the minutes.
A second.
Passed unanimously. There's no commissioners teleconferencing. We're just not full house. All right, I will move on to agenda item number 5, public comment period. To accommodate public comment, we have made some temporary changes to this part of our agenda that were necessitated to comply with the COVID-19 directives. There is a temporary 2-minute per person time limit for all general public comments on non-public hearing items. All who wish to speak, including commissioners and staff, need to be recognized by the chair before speaking. Members of the public shall comply with the adopted rules of decorum, Resolution 4545, a copy of which can be requested through the city clerk's office. You may also fill out a form and submit your comments online at www.hemet.gov/county-chamber-live, and it will be read aloud. Submittals must be done before 2 p.m. the day of the meeting. For those that wish to join by teleconferencing, you'll be able to join by calling 888-585-9008. When prompted, dial 743-463-604#. You will be asked for your name prior to speaking. Reminder, if you are joining by teleconference, please mute your phone to prevent noise interference until you are given time to provide public comment. Please state your name and item you are commenting on before speaking. Are there any members of the public participating through teleconference that would like to comment on any items not on the agenda? Please mute your live stream and speak your name and address for the record.
We do have callers online.
Is there any members of the public that would like to comment on any items not on the agenda? All right, hearing none, we will move forward to agenda item 6A. Good evening.
Good evening, commissioners, Mr. Chairman, members of the staff, and members of the public. I'm going to be presenting conditional use permit 20-001 and variance 20-002 for part-time tobacco store. The business owner is Farad of Bush Kadim. The agent, Mohammed Kapara. The location is 1784 West Florida Avenue. The suite is a 1,320 square foot suite, and it is in the C2 General Commercial Zone. The description of the proposal is the operation of a tobacco store in a 1,320 square foot suite in the commercial center known as the Boardwalk. and it is proposing hours of operation from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., 7 days a week, and also for a variance to allow for a reduction of separation requirements. The Hemet Municipal Code, Section 9042.4, provides that the Planning Commission, with the authority to review and approve conditional use permits and to impose conditions of approval which pertain to the development of the property and the operating conditions of the proposed use. Also, Hemet Municipal Code 90-44 provides the Planning Commission with authority to review and approve variances subject to the required findings. The Boardwalk is the location where the proposed tobacco store is located, and here we see Buffet City, Red Robin. This building is existing, and this shaded section is a proposed location. There is now a building spec here, and this is known as the Boardwalk. Here we have the general plan and the zoning maps showing the zoning here with C2, general commercial, and community commercial general plan. The surrounding uses include a Sunburst mobile home park to the north, to the south a commercial center with a Cricket and Dollar store, to the east Allen Tire Company, to the west Burger King and Pep Boys. Here we have an aerial view showing the location of the proposed tobacco store, Buffet City, Red Robin. This is now built out. Gilmore, Florida, Lyon, Latham. The tobacco stores require findings per section 90-80, and there are 4 required findings, and 1, 3, and 4 can be made. 1 has to do with zoning. The zoning is C2, which is an allowable zone. Item number 3 talks about substantial compliance with the requirements of all applicable building codes, and this building does. And the tobacco store is in substantial compliance with the development standards for the zone in which it is located, and it does. Finding number 2 has 4 different separation requirements, and of the 4, 1 can be made, which is any public or private school where minors are present. There aren't any within 1,000 linear feet. We cannot make the finding to the distance of 1,000 feet from any other tobacco retailer, nor 1,000 feet from any location where classes or group activities for children are held, nor 1,000 feet from any residentially zoned property. The applicant has applied for a variance to approve a reduced distance requirement. There are actually 3 tobacco retailers within the 1,000 feet of the proposed tobacco store, and they're listed here. The location where children's activities are held also doesn't meet the requirement, and the Sunburst Mobile Home Park for residentially zoned, and these are the distances from the proposed use, and this is the requirement for a reduction, and that is what the variance is requesting. Section 90-44.5 discusses variance findings. The first one is that there are unique physical circumstances applicable to the subject land, including size, shape, topography, location, or surroundings. If the approving body finds that the physical circumstances are similar to other parcels in the zone, such circumstances are not unique and a variance shall not be granted. A unique physical circumstance applies to the location. Sylvan Learning is a place where classes or group activities are held for children and is approximately 885 feet from the proposed tobacco store if measured from property line to property line. Staff believes that measuring from building to building meets the intent of the ordinance and also meets the 1,000-foot separation requirement. Finding number 2, the strict application of zoning standards deprives the property of the right to use the land in a manner enjoyed by other conforming property in the vicinity under identical zoning standards. Staff believes that strict application of the zoning standards for tobacco stores deprives the property of the right to use the land in a manner enjoyed by other conforming property in the vicinity under identical zoning standards. Separation requirements to other retailers is difficult to meet, as tobacco retailers can be gas stations, convenience stores, drug stores, donut shops, and they are not required to meet the separation requirements. Separation requirements to residential zones are also difficult to meet, as typically residential zones are adjacent to commercial zones. Variance number 3, the finding, the approval of a variance shall not constitute a grant of special privilege which other conforming properties in the vicinity do not enjoy under identical zoning standards. Staff has reviewed Section 90-80 of the Hemet Municipal Code and found that 1,000-foot spacing requirements to other tobacco stores or retail establishments that typically offer tobacco or tobacco-related products and to residentially zoned properties is difficult to achieve, and granting the variance request does not constitute a granting of a special privilege with other conforming properties in the vicinity. In addition to the variance findings, a CUP also has findings, and there are 4. Here, the first finding requires that the proposed location of the conditional use permit is in accord with the objectives of this chapter and the purposes of the zone in which it is located. Tobacco stores are allowed in the C2 zone with approval of a CUP. Additional findings are required for this type of use per Section 90-80 of the Hemet Municipal Code. The separation requirements set out under Section 90-80 cannot be met, but the applicant has applied for a variance, and the findings required to approve a variance can be made to allow a reduction in the distance requirements to other tobacco retailers and residential zones. Finding number 2, that the proposed location of the conditional use and the conditions under which it will be operated or maintained will not be detrimental to the public health, safety, or welfare, or materially injurious to properties or improvements in the vicinity. Until recently, there were 4 tobacco stores in Hemet. 1 has closed. Thus, approving this tobacco store does not contribute to the proliferation of tobacco stores. And staff believes that the approval of the tobacco shop will not create any additional health and safety impacts or be materially injurious to properties or improvements to the vicinity. Finding number 3, that the use and operation is consistent with the general plan elements, goals, and policies. One of the commercial goals is described in Goal 6.3, which describes commercial growth, and that is to encourage the establishment of retail and other support and entertainment uses that provide a broader selection of high-quality goods and services for residents, workers, and tourists to enjoy, and to minimize sales leaks to other communities. Another general plan goal, 13.6, is business retention. Support the retention and expansion of existing businesses and encourage local employment. Finding 4, that the type, intensity, sensitivity, and operating characteristics of the proposed use and the manner in which they will be located on the site are compatible to existing land uses, the character of established neighborhoods, or planned development in the vicinity. Section 90-80 of the Hemet Municipal Code provides standard conditions of approval for tobacco stores. The conditions address carding customers to confirm age, minimum employment age, prohibition of self-serve displays, prohibition of fixed security bars, no smoking on the premises, prohibition of the sale of any drug paraphernalia, with violation of any conditions of approval shall constitute a public nuisance subject to abatement. Please refer to conditions of approval numbers 9 through 17. Abiding with such conditions assists in preventing negative impacts or quality of life issues within the vicinity. We did receive a call for the November 3rd, 2020 meeting. Ms. Patricia Noseworthy, management of the Sunburst Mobile Home Park. She is located at 1895 West Devonshire. She opposes the smoke shop. She was afraid that it will become like Lyons Market, a liquor store on Lyon Avenue in Florida, where it has become a place for people loiter. The recommendation is that the Planning Commission adopt Planning Commission Resolution number PC 2021 to approve conditional use permit 20-001 and variance 20-002, subject to the conditions of approval, and direct staff to file a notice of exemption with the county clerk. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much. Any questions for staff?
Just for planning, I have a question. The variances goes to the council, correct? And then they make that decision with the variance?
No, the variance stays here as Planning Commission makes that decision here.
And just to update for Cindy, this project came before us. We continued it because we told them that they would probably need a variance to meet those requirements for their arguments. And staff went back to explore what those variances were. So it had been before us, and they went back to try to look at how they could justify that.
So in regards to the mobile home park to the north, can we go back to the map kind of showing its location? I'd like to see the entrance to that mobile home park and how it kind of ties in with...
Is anybody there? The audio for the video just went down. And we have no other way to hear it.
I actually hear something on the video, but it's so low.
Okay. And now the sound's back up. Okay.
Can you guys hear us now?
Can you guys hear us?
The video light is on and green.
It's back up now. We hear it now.
All right, so once again, to kind of follow up on the public comment that we received, that came from the mobile home park to the north of Latham there? Sorry?
Manager.
I'm able to. I'm sorry, I don't mean to jump into the meeting. This is a different applicant.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? Okay. So the entrance to that mobile home park is not along Latham, correct?
It doesn't appear to be. This is a block wall alongside the sidewalk, and then these are roads within the park.
Yeah, it doesn't exit over. So if you went by the position it was for their actual entrances, then it would meet that 1,000-foot
Right.
requirement. And that's where they are, but there's no exiting onto Latham.
Mm-hmm. And that kind of goes with the issue with the Sylvan Learning Center too. That if you go by property parcel to property parcel, it's a little harder to meet that distance requirement. But if you measure kind of what's the intent, to separate that, I think, then it does meet.
It was well over that because it was 15 feet short at the corner, and the corner of that property is for the Bank of Kemet, right there. So
Is it safe to say that the entrance to the mobile home park is beyond 1,000 feet from the proposed project site?
I would say so. From the distance from here to the property line was, I believe, 430 feet. If the entrance is on Devonshire, then it would be
Certainly.
at least another block, 600 feet.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Okay. No further questions?
I think that liquor store attracts for years the wrong type of crowd she's trying to compare it to, so I don't think that smoke shop would particularly bring that kind of same crowd hanging out in the front of the liquor store. Driving by it all the time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and open up the public hearing. And the applicant, would you mind coming forward and stating your name and address for the record?
Good evening. My name is Mohammed Kafara, and my address is 2015 Silver Drop Lane, Hemet, California, 92545.
All right, thank you for coming in. Do we have any questions from the commission? Are there any issues with any of the conditions of approval that are presented?
No, sir.
Okay, well, thank you for your persistence on this and identifying an opportunity that we have to through the variance process to help meet the intent of 90-80 while still supporting objectives of our general plan and policy. So thank you very much.
Thank you guys for your time and everything.
And just one more for Commissioner Lemke. The other shop that closed was a relative, and they were at Lion and Florida, just behind Walgreens in that center. And that one closed, and this one is open. So that's the one that they say went away.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any comments online?
We did not receive any e-comments.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody that's participating on the phone right now that would like to speak to this project? All right, hearing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Additional thoughts? Comments? All right, well, if none, then we'll ask for a motion.
I'd like to take a motion that the Planning Commission adopt Planning Commission Resolution number 2021 approving CUP 20-001 and variance 20-002 subject to conditions of approval and to direct staff to file a notice of exemption with the county clerk.
And the motion passes 4-0. Thank you very much. All right, moving on to agenda item 7A. Good evening.
Good evening, Vice Chairman Worth, members of the Planning Commission, and community. My name is Monique Alanis Slater, the project planner for Conditional Use Permit 20-002 and Site Development Review 20-006. The project applicant is Ruben Gonzalez with PM Design. Property is located at 3156 and 3200 West Florida Avenue. Property is located east of the northeast corner of West Florida Avenue and North Sanderson Avenue. The applicant is requesting a conditional use permit and site development review approval to demolish the former Banner Mattress building in order to construct a 2,802 square foot Raising Cane's chicken finger restaurant and drive-through with 176 square foot outdoor covered patio on an improved area of approximately 1.08 acres. This is an aerial view of the site pad location. The project site is located within the Shops at Crossroads Center, located at the northeast corner of Florida and Sanderson Avenue. The 7.03 acre project site comprises of 7 retail commercial buildings totaling 66,159 square feet. And after the construction, will result in a greater amount of by 250 square feet. The existing shopping center is developed with existing curb and gutter, sidewalk, and parking, and recently went through a facade renovation. Here's a revised site plan showing the shopping center with the renovation. It has 3 driveways on Florida Avenue and 2 on Sanderson Avenue. Commercial land uses include Grocery Outlet, El Ranchito Taco Shop, Wingstop, Sterenstein, The Habit to the west, Blaze Pizza, and a new Mattress Firm retail building. Surrounding land uses include commercial and retail land uses to the north, south, east, and west. The property maintains a general plan land use designation of community commercial and is zoned C2 general commercial. The project involves the demolition of the Banner Mattress building and the construction of the Raising Cane's chicken finger with outdoor patio on the site. Site improvements also include new menu preview boards, signage, as well as landscaping around the perimeter of the parcel. There will also be new site lighting, a new enclosed trash enclosure with materials and colors to match the Raising Cane's restaurant. The project will continue to utilize all the existing driveways within the shopping center, and the driveway pad for Cane's drive-through, formerly Banner Mattress, is located between 2 full movement driveways on both east and west of the pad site, located on the southerly side of the shopping center with frontage on West Florida Avenue. The total square footage of the shopping center after construction is actually 66,159 square feet total. For parking, the center is required to provide parking at a ratio of 1 space per 250 square feet of gross floor area. With the proposal and the existing center will be required to provide a total of 264 parking spaces, which they are proposing 296 with the Cane's drive-through. The required parking for Cane's is 24 spaces. 27 parking spaces, including 2 ADA spaces, have been provided, and the overall parking for this center will be met. The proposed contemporary architectural style of the building includes brick wainscot and the building facade, along the building facade and building bases, aluminum storefront systems in black, summit gray, mountain fog, and oyster shell cement stucco exterior, reclaimed vintage and metal panel elements in the shape of a number 1 at the south elevation only, hot rolled steel with carbon grade finish at entry awnings and menu boards, and covered metal awning for the outdoor dining area. The proposed building height at the top of the parapet is 19 feet 10 inches. The architectural style of the restaurant is complementary to the shops at Crossroads. It's an illustration of the floor plan, which includes the outdoor seating area, entrance into the restaurant from both the south and east sides of the building. The floor plan includes a dining room, customer pickup area, serving area, kitchen, manager's office, dry storage, corral for grease storage, a fire riser room, and drive-through pickup and pay stations. Raising Cane's proposes 2 drive-through lanes with a dual order board and dual pay pickup station. Access to the restaurant would be provided within the center through with all 3 movement driveways for ingress and egress, accessible from Florida Avenue and 2 driveways on Sanderson. The drive-through queue lane entrance is located on the southern corner of the project site. The drive-through lane would wrap around the building in a counterclockwise direction and provides one 12-foot wide entry lane that splits into 2 lanes before the order boards. This would allow the ability to bypass customers taking a longer than average time to order at the order board. The side-by-side ordering configuration of Cane's is intended to help address potential bottleneck issues at the order board, as well as reduce the service time at the drive-thru as orders can be processed. Due to the high volumes of patrons observed by staff at several Cane's drive-thru locations throughout the valley and region, and high volumes of traffic observed on West Florida Avenue, the applicant provided a supplementary queuing analysis prepared by Kimley Hornet and Associates on September 16, 2020, to support the proposed drive-thru configuration within the center. The report concludes that the report concludes that the Raising Cane's dual drive-thru lanes would provide a total queue length of approximately 420 feet for a queuing capacity of 19 vehicles from the beginning of the drive-thru lane to the pickup window. Considerably high volumes of traffic during grand opening period can be anticipated. Therefore, a condition of approval is recommended that during the initial 6-month period, an alternate backup circulation management plan be submitted to the city and implemented with a trial period of 6 months. The intent of this condition is to prevent vehicle overflow onto West Florida Avenue. The alternative plan should continue to be implemented as needed. Landscaping is proposed throughout the site around the buildings and in the parking areas. It does comply with the minimum requirement of 5%. Total landscaping of 13.8% is proposed, and the existing trees within the right-of-way will also be maintained. The lighting will be required to comply with the city code standards and shall be adjusted that it's contained within the boundaries of the site. A recommended condition of approval to avoid spillage onto light spillage onto West Florida Avenue for westbound vehicles traveling on westbound on West Florida Avenue would be a decorative 42-inch screen wall provided for the angled parking southeast facing on West Florida Avenue. They are also proposing very minor minimal earthwork of 480 cubic yards of cut and 54 cubic yards of fill on the site to balance out the pad site for appropriate drainage. Also, the hours of operation for the center, they are proposing 9 a.m. to 1 a.m. Sunday through Thursday and 9 a.m. to 3:30 a.m. Friday through Saturday. The shopping center Hours of operation are from 7 a.m. to 1 a.m., with the exception of Del Taco, which is 24 hours. It is recommended that hours of operation be consistent with the center for security purposes. On December 24th, 2020, the city gave public notice by advertising in the press enterprise and by mailing to property owners and tenants within 500 feet on December 17th, prior to the holding of the hearing, at which the project would be considered by the Planning Commission. To date, there have been no comments from the public. The project qualifies for 2 exemptions, categorical exemptions, from the provisions of the California Environmental Quality Act, pursuant to CEQA guidelines 15332, infill project developments class 32 and 15301 I3 existing class for the demolition. Staff is recommending that the Planning Commission adopt Planning Commission Resolution approving CUP 20-002 and Site Development Review SDR 20-006, subject to the findings and conditions of approval outlined in the staff report, and to direct staff to file a notice of exemption with the county clerk. This concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions or comments for staff? So in terms of the hours of operation, so it's going to, the proposal through the conditions of approval is to match what the shopping center is, even though Del Taco next door is 24 hours. Is that, so that's 1 o'clock during the week, and then 2 o'clock in the afternoon, in the weekends? Is that?
The hours of operation for the center, and also this was a condition of approval from the prior of when the hours of operation and
if you're online right now, would you please mute your mic? Would you please mute your mic if you are on the phone right now? Until we have public hearing.
Hours of operation for the center, and also this was a condition of approval from the prior
Sorry, go ahead.
The conditional use permit that when it came for CUP 17-002, which involved the demolition of the Coco's restaurant and construction of the Habit drive-through and retail, the condition of approval was that the hours of operation be for the center overall 7 a.m. to 1 a.m., 7 days a week.
7 days, okay. So, and the applicant has no issue with that? Oh, I'm sure we could ask them next. But.
So to clarify, the hours of operation that I read in there was until 1 or 1:30, except for Friday and Saturday they want to be open until 3:30 in the morning. Correct?
Yes, that is correct. Yes.
But that's what they're proposing? But that's not what the CUP is. The CUP is laying out that it'll be 7 days a week, 7 a.m. until 1 p.m., which will match the rest of the shopping center and be consistent with the last conditional use permit for the Habit Bar and Grill. So I'm sure that if there's an issue with that, the applicant will let us know.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
I can't pull up my.
Yes, that is correct. The applicant is requesting They were actually, they're requesting 9 a.m. to 1 a.m. Sunday through Thursday and 9 a.m. to 3:30 a.m. Friday and Saturday.
And is that what we would approve if we approve this?
Our staff is recommending that to be consistent with the center, be
Go to 1 a.m.
1 a.m. 7 days a week.
Well, all right, if there's no...
In-N-Out burger, yeah, it's out of our control, but a lot of people don't read, unfortunately. I would hate to see like an In-N-Out kind of situation where they just pile up against Florida Avenue. Because the entrance is right there, right when you pull in. But they have it painted everywhere, so just hope they follow the rules.
These are, and I think with In-N-Out had that double lane when they originally built, which was way back. They might have avoided some of that.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Has the city or any commissioners here been to a restaurant or been to a place where they have the double lane for both ordering and for pay and pickup? How does that work when you're paying and picking up? Do you have the employees running back and forth across traffic to deliver the food? I mean, it makes sense to order because you're ordering in a speaker. But when you pick up the food, how do you get your food if you're on the outside lane?
Vice Chair Worth, that is a really great question. That as part of this new strategy for Canes, this is also consistent with a new drive-through in the city of Corona, and I have been able to observe that. They did not have to employ the secondary drive-through, but they do have management staff typically during the initial stages of opening. I would have to confer with the applicant on how they are able to maneuver through that with their staffing, which would be part of their management plan. And we should have more information on ensuring that their employees are not running across the drive-through.
I can envision, like at the schools, a crossing guard standing out there and everything. But it seems like that. I mean, we certainly wouldn't want to have a situation where it puts employees at risk or customers, at risk of being involved in a avoidable situation. But is that something that is? I saw that there was by Kinley Horn there was a study that was prepared. I didn't see in there any place where it discussed that. It just talked about the number of cars and frequency and things of that nature. But it would be interesting to know how that would be impacted by having a manual, a person running back and forth between lanes of traffic and closing. And so, my only concern is not in terms of the quantity or the ability to move that many vehicles through. It's more as it relates to the potential hazard of employees being caught in the cross traffic.
So you're saying that you went to a facility that has this kind of lineup?
Yes, the city of Corona recently approved the same layout. Even with the high volumes that I observed, they did not employ the secondary drive-through lane that wraps around. They were able to control it at the intake stage, and that purpose of the dual pickup or the dual order boards that assists the flow of the drive-through. They also had staffing, but it would be a little bit different here. The site's a little smaller. They would have to provide some type of plan on how they're going to employ in the event of an overflow, and then how we could also condition to clarify how the secondary drive-through or bypass would be implemented.
So that'll be part of that 6-month trial period, and that'll give staff the opportunity to review and assess. So that would probably be the most, because of the grand opening, that would probably be the most peak flow that you would get. So that'd be a good opportunity to see how that works.
Yes.
Okay.
On the layout that you have where it says "Do not enter," that's obviously printed on the ground.
Yes.
I don't recall in the picture, do they have a sign, also a couple signs that will say "Do not enter" right there so people know not to pull in that direction? Or is it just on the ground itself?
We can condition that no, it is a one-way and intended to be one-way. That should be a condition of approval, that it should say one-way only, no entrance. Yeah.
I think it's just like at In and Out, you don't enter there.
Yeah.
They have some lower signs. Sometimes they need to be a little higher, though, I agree.
Yeah. More obviously it's on the ground.
Yeah. Very clear signage that says, "Don't come in." Don't turn.
Right?
I don't care how hungry you are.
I'm looking forward to Raising Cane's because that's really good food. Okay, well, if there's no more questions or comments, great, thank you. So we'll go ahead and open up public hearing. Is the applicant online or on the call, on the phone?
Is the applicant of this project on the teleconference line?
The applicant's been trying to speak for about 5 minutes. Can anyone hear us?
We can hear you.
The applicant's been trying to speak for about 5 minutes. Can anyone hear us?
We can hear you. Are you the applicant?
Can anyone hear me?
We can hear you. I can hear you, Kristen, but I can't hear Hannah Smith.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know that the commission. For about 5 minutes. Can anyone hear us? Okay, just so you know, there's about a 10-second delay to what you hear and what I'm saying.
Let's try this again. Is the applicant online? I know Kristen mentioned you've been trying to speak for a while. Can you hear me? This is Vice Chair Worth. Can you hear me? And if you can hear me, can you state your name and address?
So with that said, I will try and speak to it. This isn't the best way to discuss our
Somebody online is...
It's repeating everything I'm saying a couple times, but you're not hearing it for about 10 to 20 seconds.
Right. Someone online is, I think they have their... Listen, turn the stream off and only talk and listen to the phone, not the stream on the internet, just the phone call.
I would like... Okay, if I can ask my whole team to mute, and then I would like to ask the commission to come back to hear our item when we can actually speak to it.
Kristen, if you can hear me, and please have the entire team turn off the streaming audio so that they're not listening to the streaming audio online, but instead are only speaking and listening through the telephone.
Sure, I know that we can actually speak to it. This is Kristen with Raising Cane's requesting that. I don't know if you'll even hear that. You may not hear it for about 20 seconds.
Stand by, Kristen.
Ma'am, can you speak to see if we could hear you correctly?
Kristen, if you can hear me, if we can get everyone off of the streaming audio, turn the streaming audio off, mute the streaming audio, and only use the telephone for listening and speaking. And if you're not speaking, please mute the phone. Stand by. We're trying to work through this.
If we mute the streaming audio, we can't hear it. If we mute the streaming audio, we can't hear anything. If we mute the streaming audio, we can't hear anything. There's no sound on the phone call-in number, so we're relying solely on the video audio.
Okay, stand by. Thank you for the feedback, by the way.
If we mute the streaming audio, we can't hear it. If we mute the streaming audio, we can't hear anything. If we mute the streaming audio, we can't hear anything. There's no sound on the phone call number, so we're relying solely on
Kristen?
Yes, sir.
Oh, you can hear me now?
Now I can. I just started hearing you. Do you want me to unmute the audio?
Yeah, so I think we're back on track here. So, if we just mute the streaming audio and just use the phone, I think we're good.
Okay, but by doing that, I can't hear the meeting.
There was an error in our conference call line. Can you try to lower it again and see if you can hear us through the phone?
Try and call it in again?
No, just try to just lower your video and see if you can still hear us just through the phone.
I've muted the video. I just am not hearing anything but you both.
Okay, well, that's good. That's where we want to be right now. So if you can hear us and you muted the video, we can go ahead and get going. And if you would like, I think we can get through this very quickly.
Who's speaking? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry?
Who is this speaking? I'm sorry, the video is off on the audio, so I can't tell who's speaking.
I apologize.
Sorry.
This is Vice Chair Worth.
Hi, I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I'm sorry for that little hiccup there. So if you would not mind, and you can speak on behalf of your team, please state your name and address for the record, and we can get through this pretty quickly.
Okay, yes, sir. And also, too, as I do that, we do have our traffic engineer on here and can also speak to the queuing as well and some of the questions you have. Kristen Roberts, Raising Cane's Property Development Manager for ICOSIC and Cashier. And I want to thank you all. I do apologize. I promise I was not saying those things 9 different times. It was just repeating. But so I do thank you and appreciate your understanding as we all work through this, just given our situation. I did want to speak to the hours of operation. We do not agree with staff's recommendation, and I'd like to have a moment to explain why. And if you have trouble hearing me or you need me to stop, let me know, since I can't hear on the videos.
You are good.
I
Go
appreciate
ahead.
your patience. Okay, thank you, sir. The other hours of operation that were referenced to different cities, the ones that were midnight, those were actually imposed due to the direct proximity of residents. Those were discussions in many community meetings we had with those residents and the surrounding communities to ensure that we all met an amicable time for closing. And the 2 a.m. closings was before leadership shifted the California hours on the weekends only to 3:30 a.m. And the reason that we would request this is a few reasons. There's no direct residential here. We're in a commercial zone. We also do have a letter that I received today. Unfortunately, he has not been able to be on the call, but our landlord, Jeff Mayhew, who's actually the center owner, supports our Friday and Saturday hours of operation. In addition to losing 5 sales hours a week, it's also sales tax revenue that the city could consider. We, as many places are drive-through only right now, and we have really worked very hard and have been very lucky in a bad situation that we have going on now. We've been able to stay open, not lay any crew members off. It was in March. That was one of our founders' specific directives, and that he's held true to that. And we've actually been opening restaurants, which is hard to say for a lot of unfortunate situations going on. So we have created a double cook line. We have enhanced our drive-through time, and we started mobile tablet ordering, which has increased our drive-through speed. And we do, as Monique mentioned, have very intense traffic management plans when we open. And during our peak times and slow times, we use cones when needed. We have crew members that, as long as it's light outside, they are all over as needed in the parking lot, directing traffic, talking to the customers as they're waiting, and so forth. So, we do it really well, and we're proud of what we do. I understand the concerns of the double drive-through. I think you'll see that now as a standard at many new fast casual restaurants that are opening, and there is a system to it, and it's worked very well for us, and it's actually increased our speed of service. So our crew is not just out there running across the lanes. There is an organization to it, but mainly did want to speak to the hours of operation. And as I mentioned, I had a letter from our landlord. I don't know if I'm allowed to read that off, but we do have their support for the CUP request specific to Raising Cane's. Again, there is a 24-hour operation there as well. So they believe the Raising Cane's later operating hours will help keep the transients in the area away, reduce damage to the shopping center, just less likely plant themselves, and I'm reading from a letter, these are not my words, plant themselves in a shopping center with businesses operating. So, we've offered our corporate assurances and operational procedures. We monitor our premises. We keep a very clean and tight site, and we're very proud of who and what we provide. So I appreciate that little soapbox you let me stand on. But again, we do request those 2 Friday and Saturday nights for our hours of operation to be until 3:30 as requested in our application. And thank you for letting me speak to that.
Thank you, Kristen. Is there any questions or comments for our applicant?
Yes, this is Lori Van Arsdale, and I just was thinking about that when staff recommended stopping you at 1 o'clock along with the others in the center, but yet we still have Del Taco that's open 24/7. And personally, I think that what your landlord said regarding helping to keep transients away because you're open later, it could be a real plus for that center. And I just could staff explain to me why you thought they should close at 1 like everybody else and not have those extended 2 hours?
The basis of that condition was based upon the condition of approval that was adopted by the Planning Commission for the shopping center for the prior condition CUP. However, the Commission certainly has the discretion to amend that condition.
Allow for that, okay.
Is there any issue with amending that condition for this CUP with the prior approved CUP? Do we have to go back to the previous CUP and amend that as well as this one?
Commissioner, no, you do not have to amend the prior CUP. You didn't ask for the additional time frame. So this is the separate conditional use permit for this particular use, so it does not affect the prior approval.
Are there any other concerns that staff has besides just being consistent with the prior CUP approval?
Sorry, nodding head doesn't function correctly here. No, we do not. We were just trying to be consistent with the prior approval and the center as a whole.
So, Kristen, I do have a question, kind of a follow-up on my initial comments on the double drive-through. So what I'm assuming that as part of that 6-month that management plan that'll be put together, that includes how your corporation trains and manages staff to be able to effectively and safely direct traffic and deliver into the second lane, deliver food into the outside lane if need be. Is that a true statement?
I'm so sorry. It was very, very quiet. You were saying that the operational plan that we would submit would include how that would work as well?
Yeah. What I'm asking is you mentioned that you do it and you do it well, and I'm assuming that there is training and things in place to ensure that staff are up to speed on how to properly and safely manage traffic and cross traffic to deliver. And so you do it and you do it well.
Absolutely.
Do you have things in place already that you're going to be submitting as part of that plan?
Yes, sir. We've actually opened quite a few restaurants since the onslaught of the pandemic in March, and have been able to, I don't want to say perfect it, but really manage it very well. I failed to mention before any restaurant opens, 30 days before, the whole crew's in there getting trained. We've got an entire new restaurant operations team that comes into every restaurant. Obviously, it would be no different. And they train for 30 days. They train every crew member, every shift, and they work very closely. Also, prior to opening, we understand, we call it our honeymoon period. We understand that popularity, and we love it, but we do understand the concerns that some cities have, and we want to make sure to address that. So prior to opening, in addition to the NRO team managing the crew and training them, that's part of that training. And additionally, the NRO team will meet with the city, we'll meet with police, we hire off-duty police officers, we work together to come up with a traffic management plan for what we know is going to be a very busy time when we first open. And if needed, we actually keep off-duty police officers or security on hand as they're needed. And will it be that busy every moment we're open? No. But when they are, we have management to do that. And we do have 30 days after we open, the NRO crew stays on hand and helps out with all of that before they peel off and go to the next opening. And all that would definitely be included in the request from staff.
Great, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions or comments for our applicant? Do we have any e-comments?
We did not receive any e-comments.
Is there anybody online or on the phone that would like to speak to this project? Hearing none, we'll close public hearing. All right. Questions, comments, concerns? So, if we were to amend that particular item on the conditions of approval, can we do that here just through verbiage or just through the motion?
So I have notes that you would like to change the hours of operation for Friday and Saturday nights to 3:30 a.m. We could easily do that by adding that language. And I also heard that you wanted to include no entry and one-way signage. That can be part of the condition number 15, but that is signage is not approved as part of this item. They would just have to submit for a separate sign application, which does not include Planning Commission review and approval. So they could easily include that, and we could just put a language in condition number 15 that applicant work with staff to include and incorporate a one-way and no entry at the eastern driveway approach.
So who's going to remember that for the motion?
I would like to move what HP said. As
I'm sorry, Lori, real quick. I have one more.
Actually, I'll do it more formally.
Okay.
Okay.
Real quick. So one of the things that I heard was the off-duty police. Is there any input from our police department that is asking for that, or is there any additional requirements from HPD?
There were no additional comments or concerns provided by the police department.
Okay.
They did attend the first preliminary DRC meeting.
Gotcha. Great. Thank you. Okay. Well, any other questions, comments? And if not, then we'll entertain someone, Lori, to try to put together that motion.
I'd like to move that the Planning Commission adopt Planning Commission resolution approving conditional use permit CUP 20-002, and to include the changes which include the hours of operation that the applicant had requested, and also the additional signage that was discussed here, and how to do it is up to the planning department and the staff to figure out how that is incorporated. But with the understanding to keep them from going in the out direction. And site development review, SDR 20-006, subject to the findings and conditions of approval, and direct staff to file the notice of exemption with the county clerk.
I'll second that.
The motion passes 4-0. Thank you, and congratulations.
Thank you each. Everyone stay well out there. I'm in Texas, so I appreciate all y'all out there. So thank you for everything you're doing.
Welcome to
Take care, everyone.
And I do have to tell you that one of our Boba Tribal Council members has been asking me when you're coming. So I know she'll be a great
They're a maniac. We love it.
Very good. Thank you much. Good night.
Hey, stay well, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
All right. Yeah, that's really good. It's always crowded, but it's really good. All right. Moving on to department reports. The attorney.
I have nothing to report tonight.
HP.
Towards the end of last year, we started the Planning Commission 101 series with you, and we just wanted to know if you wanted to continue that, and we can bring items to you detailing certain applications or certain process, certain topics. As Stephanie and I will bring that forward if you are interested still in getting that information on a lighter agenda nights that we can go over.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think we're, for the most part, besides Lori, we're all pretty new at this. So the more we can understand about our roles and how to be effective is better. So it's very appreciated.
Lori's pretty rusty.
Is there any email that you can email us with that? Any further information via email?
Are you asking if we can send it to you via email versus having it in this form?
Well, when you're mentioning the future classes that are coming, or is it just here that we're having?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Just do. Yeah, thank you very much. I think that's very, very helpful. At least I know it is for myself. HP, your opinion?
We have a couple items coming for you in the future. We have the 7 Days Market. This is an alcohol sales request. We have a Saddle Point development. And we also have Santiago RV Park development coming before you. So just anticipate those, as well as some of the other projects that we're still working on. As you know, today's January 5th, so the project that you heard tonight, we worked on last year in December to finish it out before we went on our small breaks. So we are constantly working on different projects and different things, so a lot of things in the works, so just anticipate those to be coming before you.
Awesome. Okay. Planning Commission reports, HP?
Vice Chair Wolf?
Nothing to report. I just want to make a comment that I appreciate the staff's efforts on that tobacco project. I think it's important to balance the intent of our 90-80 and to find a way to support both the intent of that in terms of not degrading our community while still supporting the objectives of local employment and retaining businesses. I think is great. So I thank you for that, for finding a way to make that way. Besides that, nothing to report. Happy New Year, everyone.
Commissioner Beamschiffer?
Nothing to report.
Commissioner Leckie?
Nothing to report.
Commissioner Van Arsdale?
Nothing to report.
Very good. Well, if there's nothing more, then we will be adjourned until January 19th at 6 p.m.